What is it going to take for the Boozer twins to be remembered as the best set of brothers ever for Duke basketball? Is it that high of a bar?
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is J.J. Jackson. Today is Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. And Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. Today, we're going to talk a whole lot about Duke basketball. We'll be talking about the Boozer twins and the rest of the squad getting set for the upcoming season this summer with workouts that have begun. If you have not done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free wherever it is that you get your podcast. Be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and written review to watch our show each and every day. It's really simple. Go to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. As we get closer to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, I can't wait to chase that milestone and celebrate that with you all, the everydayers out here that make Locked On Blue Devils a part of your daily routine each and every day. We're proudly a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here he is joining us on today's show. Once again, our good pal Kevin Connelly from Ball Durham back with us once again. And Kevin, I want to talk about the Boozer twins here. I want to talk about the brothers that they are and whether or not they have the opportunity to be the best brothers who have ever worn that Duke uniform. I hope that you're doing well here today, man.
I'm doing good, JJ. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get after it, man. We've got brothers in the Duke Brotherhood. Obviously, that's the word that Duke likes to throw out there. So many players having played for Mike Krzyzewski after his 42 seasons as a head coach. But along the way, several players within the program were actual blood brothers. They had the same parents. They came from the same family. They earned that distinction playing for Duke basketball. So a question pretty simple here. Do the Boozer twins have an opportunity to be the best brothers to play for Duke? And what will it take for them to get there? Before we get into kind of the picture of it all, what are your thoughts again on Duke landing such a highly sought after pair of recruits in Cameron and Cayden Boozer?
Well, I think it's kind of par for the course so far for what the program has been going back to that final decade under Mike Krzyzewski and now the early stages with Jon Scheyer. They've gone out after the big fish in the recruiting pool, and more often than not, they've landed them. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is the big talking point. You look at a guy like Paolo Banchero, who played towards the end of Mike Krzyzewski's career, and then like guys like Kyle Filipowski and Dariq Whitehead and Derek Lively, who are all very highly thought of recruits coming to Duke. So kind of par for the course. Big time, highly rated prospects entering college as freshmen and joining this Duke basketball team.
That seem really interested in playing for Duke, right? Seem really interested in having the target on their back, so to speak, each and every night. You look at what they were able to accomplish in their high school careers. We could have the argument that they're the best ever high school basketball players with the amount of winning that they did. And good on us, Kevin. We've gone this entire time so far, these first few minutes, without mentioning the fact that even beyond being brothers, their legacies with their dad, Carlos, being on the 2001 basketball team for Duke.
Yeah, I think that put a little bit more pressure on Jon Scheyer in this recruitment just because they are the twin sons of Carlos Boozer, a great Duke basketball player in the Duke Athletics Hall of Fame, and obviously had a great NBA career as well. And with how good specifically Cameron is, there was a lot of, as you would imagine, publicity and coverage behind this recruitment. And if you remember, it felt like for the longest time, although some people would say Duke was a favorite, a lot of the reporting that went on, Duke necessarily wasn't the favorite. It was Miami. It was Florida also in the mix for them. But it was Duke ultimately who came out on top. So, there was a lot in this recruitment that maybe some people forget about now that they are officially Duke Blue Devils. And it was always the assumption, oh, well, they're going to go to Duke because their dad was a star there and their dad is still highly regarded there. But I know we talked about it during the recruitment for a really long time there. A lot of the reporting said Duke wasn't a leader in their recruitment. They were kind of second or third in the pecking order.
Yeah, I mean, Florida had a really strong run. Miami, of course, the runner-up in all of this. People thought maybe they'd stay home and play for that program. Jay Lucas was the primary recruiter for Duke for the Boozer twins. And then all these months later, now he's the head coach at Miami. Their head coach at Christopher Columbus High School is now an assistant coach on Jay Lucas's staff there for the Hurricanes. So between playing at Christopher Columbus, though, and then playing in the EYBL circuit and in the AAU circuits, I should say, for the Night Riders, it's really, really hard to find a more successful duo in the sport than what Cameron and Cayden Boozer were able to accomplish.
Yeah, when they played, they won. It's kind of simple as that. Anytime they stepped on a court, more often than not, the chances were they were going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they were able to know they had the target on their back, to know that they have the spotlight being Carlos Boozer's sons and being able to deliver the way in which they did was really special, really impressive as well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what the makeup of a player. You know the spotlight's on you. You know everybody knows who you are once you step in the gym, once you step on the court, and you're still able to deliver and fulfill those big expectations. That says a lot about a player.
All right, so you look at what they were able to accomplish in their careers. Cameron Boozer finishes as the higher-rated brother of the pair, comes in really large frame, projected top 3 pick already in the 2026 NBA mock draft. Your early thoughts on Cameron Boozer and the year that he could have as a college basketball player?
I mean, I think he can be a National Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the expectation for him to be one of the best players in the country. That's certainly what everyone talks about him like. And we just talked about how decorated of a high school and AAU career he had. The expectation is he's just going to step right into college and have similar success. So I wouldn't necessarily put a statistical averages of an expectation on him, but certainly the overwhelming expectation is he's going to be one of the 2 or 3, if not the best player in the ACC and one of the best players in the country.
And I think Cayden Boozer is going to have just as big of an impact as his brother Cameron for the Duke basketball team, which is a little difficult to say given how big of an impact we expect Cameron Boozer to have this upcoming year. But you look at the guard spot where Cayden's going to come and fill in, there's a need for steady play right away. We saw some reporting come out this morning from John Rothstein, who had a big conversation with John Shire talking about Caden Foster, leading the Duke team in assists so far this summer. I mean, it feels like Duke's going to do everything in their power to put the ball in Boozer's hands early.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, it's the thing that I've talked about the most this summer about with this team is I have a lot of question marks at that point guard position. Can Caleb Foster step in? And obviously, I think you could take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Obviously, you see someone having the most assists in the summer, and then you kind of say, okay, well, that's a point guard. But the way teams get divided up and so on and so forth, I do take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it would be a lot to put on the table or on the plate, I should say, of a freshman point guard. But we just talked about how highly thought of and regarded these two players are, and obviously more Cameron than Cayden. But yeah, if Cayden Boozer is able to step in day one and start a point guard for Duke, I think that could make this team very successful. I think people would still have a lot of questions just because you have a freshman orchestrating things. But yeah, if John Shire is comfortable with it, who's any of us to try to argue that?
So what will it take? What will it take for the Boozer twins to go down as the best set of brothers to ever play for Duke basketball? Is there any world in which we could see a scenario like that happening? We'll tell you in a moment. Lockdown Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one of the energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. That's where something like 5 Hour Energy can come in. It's where I absolutely love to go to get that extra boost myself. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to drink without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use our promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. 5-Hour Energy is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Kevin Connelly from Ball Durham is here with me on the program today, talking about Duke basketball and the Boozer twins, who were getting set to begin their freshman season for Duke. Can they be the best ever brothers to play for the program? I think before we answer that question, Kevin, it's important to recognize some of the top brothers that come to mind for Duke basketball.
Yeah, 100%. I think obviously you mentioned the Plumlees and the Joneses. Those are the two brother pairs or tandems, however you want to call it, since there were three Plumlees to come through Duke. And it's a tough question to answer because it feels like the only surefire answer is a national championship. Now, like when you look at the Joneses, like Tyus and Trey didn't play together, and Tyus won a national championship and Trey did not. You look at the Plumlees, and every single one of them won a national championship. Miles and Mason were on the 2010 team, and then Marshall was on the 2015 team. So you already have one pair of brothers who played together, which were Miles and Mason, winning a national championship together on that same 2010 team. So if that's what we're basing it off of, I do think a national championship is probably the answer to that question. Although there are certain probably other statistics you can get in: ACC Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year, ACC All Rookie, ACC All First Team. There's other ways you can answer the question, but I think the most basic way is saying a national championship.
Because that's where Trey Jones comes into the equation in this, with the individual accolades that he was able to win while he played for Duke. Although, again, he did not win that national championship, and all the other sets of brothers did win the title. They were able to get the job done. I can even go a step further for people out there, Kevin, when you look at this Duke basketball team, and I would love for people in the comments. I know the everydayers keep us honest and let us know if there are other brothers that we're forgetting about there in the Duke family. I will give some love to the Kellys, right? Ryan Kelly played for the Duke basketball team. He was a freshman on the 2010 team. His brother Sean started his career as a manager for Duke basketball before being a walk-on basketball player at Duke for the 2015 national championship season. So crazy enough, that's another duo of brothers that won national championships while playing at Duke, when talking about Ryan and Sean Kelly. Someone that doesn't quite meet the eligibility would also be Jared McCain and his brother Jace. Jared played for the Blue Devils. Jace McCain, just a grad assistant and more on the coaching staff for Duke basketball. You've got Seth Curry and Austin Rivers, who are now brothers-in-law after being teammates in Duke. Seth Curry married Austin Rivers' sister. So that's a fun little connection there. But I think what we're circling back to in all of this is that the Plumlee brothers had three of them, and they're all national champions at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think the other angle you could take of it in determining who is the best brother tandem could be looking at NBA success. Now, certainly, like Tyus and Trey, I mean, Mason's still in the NBA, but I think Tyus and Trey already have better NBA careers than the Plumlees combined, most likely. So then, I mean, Cameron is expected to be a one and done, and expected to be this time next year a building block, a cornerstone piece for a struggling NBA franchise of whoever wins or gets a top 5 pick in the NBA lottery. And Cayden's more of a question mark, I think, in terms of his NBA prospectus and where he could be going after this season. So that's another way you could potentially look at this. And if you sided with the Joneses because that they're a little bit better in their professional career and in the NBA than the Plumlees. There's multiple ways to answer this question, but I think for this conversation, it's best to determine it like on the floor as a Duke Blue Devil.
I think the upside is there for the Boozer twins to be the best set of brothers, though. When you look at the impact that they could have, I think obviously, like we're mentioning, Cameron Boozer is going to be one of the best players in the country this upcoming year. I truly do believe that. Trey Jones, his second year on campus is when he went crazy and won the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, was the Player of the Year for the league, right? Within the conference itself. And so that adds to the individual accolades. So if you've got a situation where Cayden Boozer is a multi-year player, he's going to make an impact regardless this season. Like, I think we can both agree we're not going to see a world in which Cayden Boozer is just learning the ropes by not playing this year. He's going to be out there on the court getting playing time, and then he's only going to be able to build to his career in the following seasons.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think this is going to be a situation like that. I should say I do think it's going to be a situation like that. Like, he is going to be out there. He is going to be playing. And that's what Duke kind of needs. And you mentioned the report earlier on in this podcast that he has the most assists so far in the summer. So that certainly bodes well. And you would think that would bode well for him getting playing time pretty quickly in November.
All right, I'm excited to see what the duo can do. And I'd love to know in the comments if you think the Boozer twins will be the best ever brothers to play for Duke basketball, to play for the brotherhood. That's a fun angle, man. We've got the coolest mantra and saying and whatnot for the program, Kevin, being the brotherhood. But then we've actually got some, DNA brothers within the unit as well.
Yeah, you got brothers in the brotherhood. The kind of fun play on words there.
I love it. All right, well, let's get set to take one more time out here on the program. And then we're talking about high-level recruits. Let's talk a little recruiting, things we've learned from Duke basketball when we return here in just a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today, brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. I was able to see things like how much I was spending on food delivery when I started using Monarch Money. So now I'm able to budget smarter and save more. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Monarch Money is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, once again, Kevin Connelly from Ball Durham here with me on the program today, talking Duke basketball. We do have an update for folks here on Tuesday, August 5th. Waiting for more news in the class of 2026 for Duke basketball recruiting. In a spot, Kevin, we get to it every single year where, we get a little antsy because we're so in love with Duke basketball, trying to wait and see who's going to be that first commit in the class of 2026. We'll get to some updates in just a moment, man. But, hey, same song, different verse, so to speak, when we're looking at another summer where we're ready to figure out who that first commit to latch on to is going to be.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're talking about this current team, and they haven't even played an exhibition game yet, and already looking forward to seeing who could be on the team.
Reel them all in. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it's always fun to look at that.
So Jordan Smith Jr. is someone that we've talked about a ton already on the show. From Paul VI High School there, where Duke's got the big pipeline. We'll give you the names again. Jeremy Roach, Trevor Keels, Pat Gongba, Darren Harris. They're all playing for Duke right now. That's where Jordan Smith Jr. plays in high school this season. He blew up over the summer in an awesome way. I'll be able to have another recruiting conversation in the days to come with national recruiting expert Brandon Jenkins, who I know our everydayers love hearing from when he breaks down these players. And wow, to think about how much Jordan Smith Jr. surged throughout the course of Peach Jam in the summer. He's now considered a top 3 player in the entire class of 2026.
Yeah, and Duke's been on him for a while, right? I mean, this is a name you mentioned that you've talked about quite a bit, and Duke's been on quite a bit with that Paul the Sixth connection. I feel like in his past rankings, he's been mostly top 20. But what you mentioned, the summer that he just had in the EYBL circuit and at Peach Jam, jumping into the top 5, into the top 3. And I think it's good for Duke that they've been a team that's been hanging around him and lurking around and certainly pursuing him aggressively since the early stages of his high school days. So we'll see what happens down the line whenever he comes closer to making a decision, but you have to feel like Duke's in a really good position to land him.
Well, the news today for Jordan Smith Jr. is that he has a final 6. We were waiting for some form of an update, feeling like Duke would be in a good spot. And Joe Tipton, of course, from On 3, had the report that, again, this is a product from the DMV area there at Paul VI High School. His final 6 are Duke, Arkansas, Georgetown, Kentucky, Indiana, and Syracuse. People, though, love the momentum that Duke has in this one. And Jordan Smith provided a quote about Duke, quote, "They want me to come in here, help them win a national championship, help them reach my goals in any way possible. They want to build my character as a young man, develop me to how I want to be. I love Jon Scheyer. He's a great recruiter. I have 2 teammates that speak very highly of him. So I'm just excited to see what they do this year, how he plays them." So, end quote. That's interesting. Jordan Smith Jr. talking about how Jon Scheyer plays the likes of Pat Gongba and Darren Harris this upcoming season.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, Pat Gongba is projected to be the starting center, and I think Darren Harris is a player that everyone's curious about how he's going to be used this year. But obviously, you hear from the quote that they have a good relationship with Duke, and it certainly doesn't help, or certainly I should say it certainly doesn't hurt that Duke has those players in their back pocket that he's very friendly with and has a good relationship with. So a couple of things that really bode well for Duke right there.
Any advantage we can get, we're certainly going to take it as we build this 2026 class. Jordan Smith Jr. right now, the big name to watch. Duke is still up there towards the top for Brandon McCoy Jr., who's one of the top players in the entire country. And we'll see who else kind of fills out this recruiting class for Duke basketball. Kevin, I know that you guys have tons of recruiting stories as well over at Ball Durham. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Yeah, balldurham.com. We got everything you want on Duke athletics, recruiting, on the field, off the field, you name it, we got it. So come read us all the time over at balldurham.com.
It is great to see you today, Kevin. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, JJ.
All right, that's Kevin Connelly joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils, and that's going to bring our show here to a close today. We appreciate your support. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Let us know if there were other brothers in the Duke Brotherhood that we missed out. I'm really proud we were able to give that shout out to the likes of the Kelly brothers, the fun brother-in-law connection for Seth Curry and Austin Rivers. Plumlees, though, the Joneses, they got it going on. And maybe we'll start to talk about that in regards to the Boozers after this upcoming season. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Also subscribe wherever it is that you get your podcast and leave us a 5-star rating and written review. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.